True story. Last year, on our short-term swing trading, discretionary trading, we made 170 odd trades. We were up about 157%. During that period of time, equity dropped 11%. I got an email saying, thanks Nick, the pain's too much. Okay. Right. So the problem is you should never get to the point where the pain is too much. This particular guy, his account was down 10%, but the pain was too much. And I said, well, what are you doing? He goes, well, I'm doing everything you're telling me to do. I said, what about risk management? What risk are you putting on each trade? He goes, I'm putting on 2%. And I said, well, hold on a sec. The probability of what we're doing here is we're going to have at least 15 losers in a row. You're risking 2% of your account, which is what he read in a textbook, which is normally talked about. So the chances are he was going to, at some stage, have a 30% drawdown. But he was only willing to deal with a 10% drawdown. In other words, he was trading way over his risk. It wasn't the system, it was his risk. It was the fact that he was using 2%. He should have been using about 0.5%, 0.5%. That way he'd never get to his risk threshold. The one thing with trading is if you lose all your money, you actually can't trade anymore. So the point is, even if you lose a lot of your money, psychologically, as I said before, you're not going to be able to pull the trigger again. And you never, ever, ever want to get to that position. It doesn't matter how bad the market is. Do you agree? So the 2%, the textbook 2% rule that we're always talked about, is not really appropriate for everybody. The last known fact is the more you risk, the more volatile your account will become. It's simple as that. If you want to go and ride a roller coaster, go to Dreamworld, or go and bet 5 or 10% on each trade. Simple facts. Anyone disagree with any of those? There's probably a few more in there. So if we add on our Lake Wobbegong effect, remember that we overestimate our own ability, my advice is think about the maximum amount of money you are prepared to lose and then halve it.